Let's go now to co-founder of the Together Declaration, Alan Miller, who has been campaigning long and hard of pulling together communities against something which, what a surprise, the Labour government is saying they want to push. And this is Transport Secretary Louise Haigh, who's giving the green light to local councils to roll out more of the controversial 20-mile-per-hour zones and, of course, low-traffic neighbourhoods as well. Those things that keep happening in our local areas, even though no one's asked for them or voted for them. Alan Miller, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Julia. Good to see you.
Thank you very much for joining. Well, I can barely see you because you seem to be against a beautiful sunset, which I've just been told is in Thailand. Have they got a big issue with 20-mile-per-hour zones there?
They do not. They do not. They don't have the issue with all the health and safety obsessions. They have much more about judgment and discretion and personal responsibility. And lo and behold, their tourism is thriving. They have very late night activity. They also have far less crime on the streets because people take a sense of communal responsibility.
Very interesting.
Actually,
as opposed to leave
it
to a copper who's never going to turn up. What do you make of this? The Transport Secretary, though, is saying, like, you know, councils, it's up to you. We will support you. Well, maybe even give you some funding if you want to have a rollout of these low-traffic neighbourhoods and 20-mile-per-hour zones. Because everywhere that I know where they've been put in, all the local people are going, well, no one asked us. We didn't want them. I mean, I've been moaning about it the whole show. The 20-mile-per-hour zone near me, when we've got, you know, 3 lanes each direction, major arterial route in and out of London. This is happening around the country, by the way, not just in London. And I mean, no one wanted it, and it's basically just a money-making exercise because so many people end up speeding over 20.
Well, it is a money-making exercise, but it's also, Julia, what's really important is it's a situation where it's an obsession with net zero, and it's about limiting, restricting and controls. There's a new outlook that says we've got to have these areas and zones that are restricted, that won't have cars. It's a war on cars. It's a war on citizens. Your last segment was really interesting about class. Working class people, people who have to go in vans and other things, are constantly getting impacts, whether they're to do with new so-called clean air zones, which we don't need and we don't want. As we know that 7 out of 10 people in Wales said they're furious and hate the 20-mile-per-hour blanket zones. So what they've now said, the Transport Minister and the Prime Minister, well, we're not going to do what they've done in Wales. We're not going to have a blanket thing from... I mean, how could we do that from Westminster? And she's very disingenuously saying we're going to support local authorities. What she then went on to say is she wants to stop the culture war around cars. They're actually amplifying it. And they're going to back it with an extraordinary large amount of money, of which we and many of your viewers, Julia, quite rightly campaigned and lobbied to get the government to stop funding because so many people were furious about it.
But also we've got better things to spend money on. But this is the thing, the decisions are always made by people who live in London, where we've got great public transport when they're not on strike, and who don't rely on a car, as most people in this country do for every aspect of home life and work life.
That's right. And also, though, what she's trying to do, the Transport Minister, is say, well, we're listening to local authorities. We don't want to decide what's happening in Cheshire or Chester. So we'll leave it to local authorities. It's interesting, this actual interview was given to Bloomberg because Mike Bloomberg is one of the big funders of C40 cities, of this whole agenda to restrict and limit cars, to have walking and cycling.
There's this 15-minute city, the idea that everything should be within 15 minutes. They don't want us to travel. They all love travelling. They love getting jets off to very far-flung places like Thailand or like, you know, Davos in Switzerland. They don't seem to want the rest of us to be allowed to even move outside our local neighbourhood.
That's right. It's particularly egregious on ordinary working people, everyday people that need to get about around the country. And I think the thing is, that's why at our 3rd anniversary on September the 20th, Julia, we're going to be looking to the year ahead about what we can all do to challenge, to get involved, to have our voices heard, to make sure that local authorities and nationally representatives hear from us all, and that we don't just get suffocated with this stuff.
Absolutely. And look, and you've led lots of campaigns in local areas, and you've had some very good victories, and it's proven that when local communities come together, don't let the cycling organisations decide everything. We can actually decide things. I'm going to leave it there. I'll let you go and have a lovely Thailand sunset cocktail. Looks absolutely bloody lovely there, doesn't it? Alan Miller, co-founder of the Together Declaration. A quick word on this from Philip Ingram.
Well, you know, again, it's a symptom, I think, of motorists going to be hit again and again and again.
If in doubt.
And we're going to see them, I suspect, being hit even more when the Chancellor announces her measures on the 30th of October.
Yeah, exactly.